We start today at 4 with the story of an amazing recovery.
Nick Wilt, the Louisville officer who was shot in the head rushing to respond to the mass shooting in downtown Louisville, is now walking. LMPD just posted this photo in the last hour. You see it there. It shows Wilt up and walking using a cane to get around, but LMPD says he does well without that cane. Wilt, of course, was one of the first officers to the scene at Old National Bank in April of last year, the first to confront the shooter. It has been a year since Wilt finished his inpatient therapy at Frazier Rehab, and he's been recovering at home ever since. LMPD says that Wilt is walking, talking, playing games, and recently even got a service dog. I want to bring in Mark Weinberg. Unusual to bring in the meteorologist for a news story, but you have really befriended the Wilt family. And you were telling us about a chair that he has now that allows him to get more up on his feet.
Yeah, so right before I went on vacation, Jen Wilt had told me they'd gotten a chair, and this chair, the goal was that can help him stand up a little bit more. And obviously where they are now is they're trying to work towards how can Nick develop some independence here. Seeing him walking around like that, because remember, we saw a couple of months ago him walking around a little bit, but even more so, this is really encouraging. This really is incredible to see, honestly. I think everybody remembers where we were.
Yeah, it was back in April at the 1-year mark where we really did an in-depth with the family, and we were able to see some videos that they had taken on their cell phone of him up and on his feet and brushing his teeth. And those moments, you're just like, oh my gosh. Like,
very miraculous.
but there's also a dog as well. We mentioned it in that story, that service dog. Again, everything's laser focused on what the rest of his life looks like.
Yeah, and so I talked to Jen, and Jen told me, Jen Wilt, that they hope with the service animal, once they get him up and trained, that this is really going to help with the independence for Nick. I mean, the family obviously is hoping that Nick can move on and live a normal life. And I think, you know, the progress we've seen, I think I speak for a lot of people in our community when I say we're blown away. I mean, in every step of this, Nick has blown away people in his ability to recover on this. And that's the thing, obviously, we're all hoping for. I said this to Nick, and I'll say it again. I hope one of these days Nick Wilt and I are going to get to do weather at the wall. I do have a lot to talk about in weather today,